Hey there, wumbcorp. I am a Rifter Darkly on Reddit, ENCube on DeviantArt, and Vin7 here on YouTube. I wanted to talk to you about your painting that I made you paint, and to give my other subscribers a bit of a backstory. What happened was that you came to our digital painting 11 days ago, I think, and you asked, how do I suck less and make stuff I can be proud of? And I think that's a great question. I think that a lot of people ask that very same question, especially beginning artists. And you got a lot of great advice in that thread. I told you to start with the first 3 chapters on controlpaint.com. I wanted you to watch all 3, and then I wanted you to paint the painting that we have before us right now. The reason why I wanted you to do this is because I wanted to kickstart you a bit. I want to get you out of your shell. I want you to get out of your comfort zone. And I don't want you to only wait for inspiration to hit, because inspiration is very rare. And if we all just waited for that to happen, there would probably only be like 10 or 20 paintings in the world. Mastering painting comes from hard work, obviously. People sometimes tell me, oh, you're so talented, but that's not really true. Well, it's true that they sometimes tell me that I'm talented, but what I'm trying to say is that it's not true that it's just talent. I knew a guy with this innate ability. He had perfect pitch, but he will never be remembered as one of the great composers of our time. He will never be up there with Beethoven or Bach or Mozart. He was my elementary school music teacher. The point is, talent doesn't lead to anywhere on its own. No great composer or singer or painter or dancer or whatever, carpenter, just woke up one day and knew everything. It was all done through hard work, dedication, and by sacrificing other things. It's hard work because you have to put in a lot of hours. It's dedication because you have to dedicate yourself to paint not only when you feel inspired, but maybe when you don't feel inspired. And by sacrificing other things, I simply mean that there are only so many hours in the day that you can paint in. Now, for me, it was to stop partying. I stopped partying because I didn't want to lose 2 days to booze and being hungover. I thought that, well, I still think that painting is more important. I also told you to do this because I wanted you to get used to receiving critique. You can't hide behind a time restraint. I know that you said that this took about 6 hours, but I judge you on what you hand in, not what you could have handed in or what you would have or should have. I can only judge you on what I see. So does everyone else who will give you critique in the future. They don't judge you, they only look at the image and judge it. That is important to remember. What we see and what we think we see are not always the same. We have this mental image of how things are supposed to look, and that's not very often the way things actually do look. For example, in your image, if we look at the mouth here and look at the reference image, you have this idea in your head of how a lip should be lit. Now, that's not the way the lip is actually lit. So the point is that what you see here and what you think you see is not the same. And we want to get you to stop using a mental image We want you to only paint what you actually see. Now that's hard, but we have to start somewhere. This right here is a sped up version of me painting the same picture. What I did right there was I control right mouse click on the photo layer to get a frame the same size of the photo. That's very important. Now I take a radial gradient at 33% opacity, set to color to transparency, and like I said, radial, pick a color, start filling in the canvas. It's a bit too light, so I darken it slightly, and I fill in the whole thing. Now I have the light source. Yes, there we go. Here comes the light source. Bam, bam, bam. And from now on, I will only look at the big shapes of the object, or the subject. I don't know. For me right now, the big dark shape that her hair and the side of her face that is in shadow makes, that to me is the most important right now. So these are the contours of that shape. As always, what you will see here, especially in the beginning, is a lot of mistakes. I f up quite a bit, but that's alright, because this is Photoshop and we can fix this much more easily than with for example, oil or acrylics or watercolor. So now that I think that I have a general shape down, which I don't, here I put down a couple of guides to make, well, to fix things. And that's fine too. I don't care. This is Photoshop after all. It's all right. And now I'm putting in the highlighted area. That's her forehead and her nose. I'm also really bad at doing these voiceovers. Alright, so what I did there was I made a selection with a 3-pixel feather, and then I hit Control J to get a new layer with sort of feathered edges. And then I simply go in and paint over that layer. Very handy. This is probably the best part of narrating a video, when you don't really have anything to say and you don't really know what to do. But that's cool. We can just sit here in silence and watch, which is quite boring, I have to say. But still, getting the big shapes down first, and not just start with, you know, for example, the iris in her pupil. I mean, that's lovely, but who cares? We want to get the big shapes down first, and then we can move on to the details. For the most part here, I'm just watching the navigator. I want the navigator and the two thumbnails in the navigator to match as much as possible. But as you can see, I'm not going as dark and as bright as the reference. simply because this is a photo, and I know that photos usually up the contrast a bit. So I'm trying to keep it a bit more natural. Soon I will flip the image with Control F. I'm not really sure if that's standard in Photoshop or if that's something that I did myself because I'm that great. But I know that flipping the image will reveal plenty of things that I don't see right now. For example, that she is her eyes are a bit too close together. And other things that will be adjusted. But at the same time, this is a 15-minute painting. I'm not that worried. I don't care that much. Detailing her lips. As you can see, I'm not that zoomed in either. That's something that I've learned. When you first start out, you kind of want to zoom in and get all the details. But if you don't have the big shapes, then no matter how much detail you put in, it will never look good. So here we are. I flip the image and I instantly see that, Jesus, gotta fix that. So Control J again, move it, and then I simply paint over. I'm going to fix her mouth next, like so. Moving it in, and then I'm going to rotate it slightly. There we go. And that's about it for the 15 minutes. Sure, some detail in the hair, but who cares? So that's a 15-minute painting. So what I want you to do right now, or, well, let's say we give it a week. You have a week to go to Reddit Gets Drawn. There is, by the way, a link to Reddit Gets Drawn in the sidebar on Art Digital Painting. I want you to grab 3 images, and I want you to do the same thing again. I want you to desaturate the photo. I want you to Control right mouse click on the photo layer to get a frame the same size as the photo. And then I want you to paint again. It doesn't have to be very detailed. This is a lesson in values, how to get the correct value, and how to worry about the big shapes instead of the small little details. The brush that I've been using all day, well, for quite a while, is zedig.deviantart.com. It's the everything else brush that you see up top over there. The brush pack is great. I like everything about it, but the everything else brush is something that I use every day. And like I said, you have a week. It shouldn't take you very long. Work on each of these for like an hour or so. If you want to be really amazing, you can do them in color. Because I did mine in color. I want to train color composition, but for right now I want you to only train value composition. So yeah, I think that's about it. Go to our Reddit Gets Drawn, find 3 pictures, desaturate, go at it, and I will probably talk to you in like a week or whatever.